Known for her passion for leadership development since she was only 17 years old, Dr. Rue pioneered several leadership initiatives, mostly for young women in Zimbabwe. She says her goal is to inspire the next generation of leaders, particularly women. She hosted the Young African Women's Summit attended by representatives from 23 African countries. She later actively served as an ambassador and curator for the US-based Imagining Ourselves project. Dr. Rue initiated the Be the Next Young Woman Politician campaign in 2009, which was recognized by the British Council and pioneered mentoring with notable political figures in London. Among other milestones, she is a fellow of the prestigious British Council Africa Leadership Program, the Women Leaders for the World Program, California, USA, Vital Voices, Washington, D.C., International Visitor Leadership Fellow by the U.S. Embassy and Research Fellow at the Santa Clara University School of Business and Leadership. Humanitarian under her nonprofit Girlotherapy. A woman of deep passion, diverse skills, and talents. You can learn more about Dr. Rue, who hosts the prestigious Boss Babe Summit, which also houses the growing hashtag Boss Babe movement. You can learn more about Dr. Rue's work on girlotherapy.com. While she has spent a lot of years investing in personal development outside her home country, she intentionally takes initiatives to Zimbabwe to continue to develop others. Dr. Rue's humanitarian work is focused on improving the welfare of people in correctional facilities, and she also works with students struggling to pay tuition in disadvantaged communities. Dr. Rue strongly believes leadership development is for everyone, and the men and women serving in correctional facilities matter significantly so. Dr. Rutendo Mudzamiri is a holder of an advanced diploma in arts and cultural institute from Culture Concepts Germany, MA in Community Arts from Maryland Institute College of Art, USA, and she earned her doctorate in Strategic Leadership from Regent University, Virginia Beach, USA. And now, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the ultimate boss babe, Dr. Rue.
Oh my goodness, Miss Becky, how do you do that? What a gracious introduction, and thank you so much for that. Also, I would like to personally thank you for being the warm host that you are. And to everybody watching us today from home, would like to say welcome to the second edition of the Boss Babe Summit, and I'm your girl, Dr. Rue. You're probably wondering what the whole Boss Babe vibe is all about. First of all, Boss Babe is a lifestyle. Boss Babe is a culture. Boss Babe is who we are. We wake up Boss Babes. Not because we are driving the fancy cars, not because we're living in the fancy houses. We are Boss Babes because we are leaders of our own destinies. That's what we are. We're in touch with who we are as women. We're in touch with who we are as powerful leaders. We're in touch with who we are even as moms, as daughters, as sisters, as friends. And we own it and we walk in that power. And we're in touch, most importantly, with the one who gives us the power to be everything that we desire to be. So welcome to this platform where we are intentionally building a network of women who are ready to soar, who are ready to thrive, who are ready to lead, and who are ready to be the best version of who they are without abandoning the fact that they are powerful women. Powerful women, I insist. So, that said, the theme for this year, obviously, I had to come to that. So the theme for this year is She Evolved. And why She Evolved? She Evolved was birthed from the time that we ended the summit in Harare last year. And I realized that so much happened between March 2020 and also March 2021. And guess what? First of all, the obvious one, we cannot have this summit live. in Harare or in South Africa simply because of the pandemic. And we had to take a step back and say, so do we stop, or we wait until 2022, or we just keep it moving? And guess what? This is what it's all about. We evolved. We evolved. We were able to get out of our comfort zones and just say, you know what? We have never done this whole virtual business the way we are hoping to bring it to you. But we just decided that we're going to do it anyway. We're going to learn. We're going to grow. We're going to make the mistakes. We're even going to lead others in the process and lead others even afterwards from the lessons that we're going to get from this summit. And that's what life is all about. Life is all about taking the best lessons from even the mistakes, from the challenges, from everything that is thrown at you to build something that's more powerful. But you can only build something more powerful even in a pandemic if you don't give up, if you don't stay down, if you don't doubt yourself, if you don't even step outside your comfort zone. And that's what evolving is all about. We started with 250 women in Harare, and today we're 12,000 strong. Thanks to the pandemic, we're able to reach out to so many women, and we are still growing. And we thank you for being part of this network that is growing, that is inspiring, that is encouraging. And that's, again, what life is all about. We evolve, we grow, we learn, we develop, we adapt. And that's what great leaders do. So I urge you, no matter what you go through, no matter what life throws at you, even in this pandemic, do not stop evolving. You keep evolving. And that's what we're all about. So I challenge you for the next 12 months until we meet again at the next Boss Babe Summit to never stop growing, to never stop challenging yourself, and to keep evolving. So I would like to leave this platform to the lineup of speakers that we have. We have an amazing lineup of speakers that we have for you today. And I don't want to preempt anything, but stay tuned and see you again soon. Thank you for watching the Boss Babe Summit.
Well, welcome. It is the second Boss Babe Summit. If you were just joining us, well, sister girl, where have you been? This summit is hosted by the ultimate boss babe, Dr. Roo, as she is fondly known. Now, on this platform, we unravel social myths and make you unlearn certain things that you were taught from a little age, right up until you're this grown woman. But believe it or not, you will never be the same after this summit. Last year, we had an array of speakers from all over the world, but we could not bring them because, you know, it's a pandemic. So we are coming to you virtually. Come with me. Let's meet our speakers. Welcome. So this is where it's all happening. It is day one of the second Boss Babe Summit. Today's lineup, we have our speakers, Mabel, Edna, Sharon, Amara, and Ruvenico. I would say sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, but not here, sweetie. It's a bumpy ride. Well, here's our first speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mabel. Over to you, Mabel.
Thank you so much for a warm introduction. My name is Mabel Majabunga Butler. I am the owner of Body Sugaring and Wellness Spa, a day spa located in Columbia, South Carolina. We will be celebrating 11 years in business this year. I'm also the owner of Tapira, a brand that houses two lines, a skincare line and a sugaring hair removal line. We will be celebrating 5 years in business. I'm so honored and super excited to be part of Boss Babe Summit 2. And the theme of this year is absolutely perfect, exactly what we need. She evolve. And that is exactly what we have been doing during this pandemic. It hasn't been easy, but we're still here and staying afloat as women in general and as business women. I know all about staying afloat by watching my mother. My mother was widowed at age 35 with 5 orphans to take care of. Without a formal education, without a formal job, she did it. There's something about us women, something that we are not asking for handouts. We are not looking for handouts. We are not asking for anyone to pit us, but all we want is an opportunity to start a business. It can be capital, it can be help, it can be education on how we can run our businesses so we can care and support our children and our families. That's what African women needs. We don't need handouts. We just want opportunities. An opportunity is exactly what I got from my mother and my brother for sending me to a beautiful school in Harare. Probably I wouldn't be here as an entrepreneur today if it wasn't of that opportunity. So opening doors for other women, opening doors and creating opportunities for other women. You don't know that that very one little thing that you're doing for somebody is what is going to carry them to the next level in their life. You don't know that little thing, that help that you're giving to another woman, or business ideas or business advice that you're giving another woman is going to help them to get to another 11. That opportunity. Another important thing that actually makes you gives you that drive is how you see yourself. The way you see yourself is very, very important. The way you think of yourself is very important in anything that you can do, in anything that you will ever do. It's really not about what people say or think about you that matters. It's exactly what you think of yourself. I'll give you an example. Growing up in Glenview 1, my mother never told us, she never said we were poor. And that's something I grew up thinking. We didn't have it that time, but we were never labeling ourselves. We never labeled ourselves as being poor, even if we didn't have money. The difference is when you don't see yourself not having it that time, it's just at that period. It doesn't mean your entire time. You're not labeling yourself as a poor person your entire life. It is in this season. It is this month. It is this year. But I'm going to come out of it. And it all starts with your mind. It all starts with how you are seeing your situation. So looking at yourself as a poor person will make you feel defeated because you're already a poor person. So if you're listening to this today, I really want you to change. I know things are very difficult in Zimbabwe. I know how hard it is, but it's just at this time. It can be this year, it can be next year, but you are not going to stay here. You get that mindset, you come out of it, because this is going to not stop you to continue to figure out how you can better yourself in your career and in your personal life. You're always going to strive because you're not looking at a situation as a permanent situation. It's just a temporal situation. And anything that's temporarily, you're going to come out of it no matter what. My mom was a very smart woman, and that is something that I've carried here, even in the US, as an entrepreneur. It is very hard to be a businesswoman as a Black woman in America. It's even harder to be a businesswoman in America as an immigrant, and then you put a pandemic on top of it. But whatever situation, when things were tougher in my business, it was just a temporary situation. I was never going to be a failure in business because it was not a permanent situation. I never looked at it as I have failed. I just said, I failed at this time, but I'm going to come off it if I try to do something different. That's where you start strategizing. You make plans step by step and seeing, okay, this does not work. How else can I get to the point A that I'm trying to get doing business? if point B did not work for me, or using this formula did not work, I'm going to try and see. It is okay to seek out mentors. It's okay to find people who have walked the path that you're walking to find out how they did. But again, how they did it might not work for you. So you are going to walk your own path, your way, and discover things that you will know. Every little step that you're walking, it is going to produce you. The good and the bad is going to produce who you're going to become in your work or in your business or in anything that you do. You gotta go through it. You gotta go through it to be able to come out and know what not to do. It has been difficult for me. There are some ups and downs, but one thing that I know I've always said to myself, when I get a no, I've gotten so many no's, but what that no meant was a next opportunity. What else can I do? This did not work out and that door is closed. Let me find out how else I can get the thing that I'm trying to get. And when you get that mentality, the sky's the limit. I know it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, but you can definitely do it. There is so much power in how you label yourself. The power of labeling yourself. The way what you call yourself. If you call yourself a loser, you become a loser. If you call yourself a failure in anything, in everything, you actually fail in everything, because it's like you are anticipating for that because you've called yourself that loser. Have you seen a child that parents or mom always call, he doesn't listen, he's got a big head, he doesn't listen, and he actually starts acting like that because everybody has been calling him that and he thinks that's who he is supposed to be. So watch what you're calling yourself. Pay attention to the inside voice, what you're saying to yourself, what you're saying about yourself. And learn to quiet the outside noise. People are going to be there to criticize you. People are going to be there to say you're not good enough. People are going to be there to say all these horrible things about whatever you're trying to do. But learn to quiet all the negative voices and listen to only your voice and God's voice. And for only those who are trying to be positive and help you in a good way. But learn to quiet that outside voice. If you can do that, you can do anything, because it starts with you. And do not let people put you in a box. What they think you are, it's none of your business. Do not let them put you in your box. You don't listen to what they say about you. You are more than the situation you're going through. That is not you. You're more than that. It doesn't matter how bad it is. You're more than that situation you're going through. So one thing I always hear people saying when they are thinking of, it can be going back to school or starting a business, is it's not the right time. I don't have the right money. I don't think I can do it right now. I'm still raising a family. And what I can tell you is there is never going to be the right time to start a business. This is the best, the advice that I can tell you. There's never going to be the right time to go back to school. All you need to do is to start. As long as you know where you're putting your first foot, then the second one will follow, and you start taking steps from there. There's never going to be a good time to do it, because if you don't, you're always going to procrastinate. There's always going to be excuses, and it's never going to get done. So just start now. Just start where you are. Just start with what you have and go on like that. And the more you start walking that path, the better the path becomes. It becomes familiar. You start kind of seeing where you're going, but you can see where you're going if you don't start by moving your first foot. So that's the most important thing about starting. When you start, it gets easier. It's just like exercising. When you're working out, the very first day you start working out, it is really painful. The next day it gets easier. You can add more steps, or you can start lifting more weights, because your body gets used to it and it gets easier. So if you didn't get anything from everything that I was talking about, this is something that you should take home to if you're planning to do anything in your life, school, starting a business. Start now with what you have, with where you are, and it gets easier when you start walking that path. Yes, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have hardships along the way, but that is going to make your story, that is going to make part of who you're going to become as a professional or as a businesswoman. And people always ask, I don't know what business should I start? But the thing about a business is anything that you can do to solve a problem. It's solving a problem. So if you can solve a problem, you are in business. People are not coming to search for problems. They're looking for answers. If you have an answer for that problem, my friend, you're in business. And all you just need is to know how to strategize and start that business. And another thing is, we cannot all be doctors, we cannot all be lawyers, but guess what? A doctor and a lawyer, they all want to get somebody to do their hair. They all want somebody to fix their sink as a plumber. They all want a mechanic. So those are the jobs that you can use your hands, and that's how you can start your business. And people, actually, I would say in Zimbabwe mainly, we have been taught that if you don't have a degree, you are never going to be anything in life. But, I'm sure with the world, what the world is like, we understand that your talent might not be something that has to do by getting a degree in school. I don't have a degree, but I am doing okay with the education that I have. I'm actually done so much more than what my education would have allowed me to. So understanding that we cannot all have the same path, but follow your dreams. One thing I was asked when I was asked to speak was to talk about my story, how I became an entrepreneur, and I will just share a little bit about that. As I mentioned before, I grew up in Glenview 1 and raised by a widow that had 5 children to take care of. We didn't have so much, but one thing I knew is I only had one chance in life, and anything that I would put my mind, or anything that was given to me, I always put my 100%, because I knew this was the only chance that I had to be able to do it. So when I got an opportunity to go to the beauty school, I worked so hard. I knew the school fees was more than what we could afford as a family. But my mom and my brother still sacrificed for me to go to the beauty school. And my breakthrough came when the Steiner, which was a company that recruited people to work on cruise ship, came. And they were based in South Africa, their headquarters, and they came in, and she was going to get 4 students out of 16 students, and they were going to be the best to get a job to work on cruise ships. And for someone, when I went to school, my thing was saying, I'm going to work on the cruise ship. That again, what I was talking about, what you think about yourself is more important than what people think or say about you. So I already made up my mind that I'm going to this beauty school. And I graduated, I'm going to work on cruise ships, even if I knew that the competition was really going to be tough. So I was super excited and nervous at the same time when the interview time came, and we had to sit with this woman who had come from South Africa, and she was representing Steiner Transoceans, and each and everybody had their time. And when it was my turn to go there, all I had to say was, God be with me. And I said, I'm just going to do my best. I smiled as I was sat next to her, very, very nervous. I didn't say much. I did my best during the interview, and we didn't get the results that same very day. I think 3 days after the results came in, and 3 people and myself were nominated to go and start training in UK for Steiner Transoceans. I would say that time is when my life began. I was going to leave a Glenview. I was going to start a life, and I was going to build a future, and I was going to be able to help my mother. So I left Zimbabwe with so much hope. I left Zimbabwe with so much drive. I was going to grow. I didn't know the way I was going to grow, but I just knew that I was going to grow in this career that I loved so much. So from there to where I am, it has always been, I've always been a person that is open to learn. Each and every opportunity that I get to learn and advance myself as a person, and also for my business, I always take that opportunity. And I'm a person who is listening. It can be from my staff members, because everybody has something to offer that can grow my business. So learning is something that I've learned. It's been hard doing business in the US also, because I had to learn the ways of doing businesses in America, because I didn't grow up here. So knowing what is it that they like, how to speak their language, how to connect with them as a foreigner, it has been a challenging. But anything that's out there that you love to do, no matter how challenging it is, if you love to do it, you will go for it, you will learn it, you will study it, and you become it, and then you'll be the best at it. So I am so grateful that the area that I am in, where my businesses are and who I do business with, they have accepted me and work with me. And I'm super thankful. I'm very, very grateful. But one thing I also want to know, to let you know, that if you're in business or starting your business, do not get discouraged when people don't buy your products, or when people don't buy into what you're marketing. I want you to understand that not everybody's going to be your customer or your client. When you understand that, when somebody doesn't buy or doesn't see your value, it doesn't mean that you are not doing business the right way. It just means they are not a perfect fit for your business. They are not a perfect fit for you. And the world is full of people, There's always going to be somebody who wants to do business with you. But you cannot be found if, one, you're not marketing, if two, people don't know about you, if three, you are not always being consistent with what you are doing, your business. So you have to make sure you are there for people to find you. You are marketing yourself for people to know you are even there. You are also being consistent in your business, so people know that if they're buying this product, is always going to be available. And also customer service. You can be really, really great at what you do, but if you suck at customer service, you're not going anywhere. Make sure you're checking with your customers. Make sure you're checking with your clients to make sure if they get whatever they need, they know that you're there to support them, that you're there to answer any questions that they might have. So that is, to me, I think that's the most important thing about staying connected with your customers, because people are not buying into the brand, they're buying into you. They want to know who exactly, what kind of person you are. So understanding and knowing what your customers are all about and what they want is very important. I give an example. I do work at the spa like twice a week. When I am there, and if I've seen a person the last 4 months and they're back and they were telling me they're going on a vacation, just being personable, talking about how was your vacation, and they're always amazed about, how do you remember? And little things like that makes your customers or your clients know that you do care. So that's what a business is really all about: caring and providing answers to or solution to any problems that the consumers have. When you do that, you are in business. Another thing that I want to share with you, if you are planning to start a business, understand that it's very lonely sometimes. You are going to have to leave some friends that you had before when you want to level up. You're going to have to not get in some conversations. Some people were there for a season to take you to that stage, and then it's time for them not to go with you, and be okay with it. Because if you're still there to want to impress your friends and want to make sure they're okay with every single decision that you're going to make in your career or in your business, you are not going further, my friend. So understand that this journey, it's for you and you alone. There's a quote that I like, that the dream was for you. It was not a conference call. It was for you. So you're going to have to carry and go by yourself, and it can be lonely. But guess what? Along the way, there are going to be people and friends that are going to support where you are going, your future. God always works in a nice, miraculous way. He always provides people along the way. You might feel like you're alone, but He has some people that He has prepared that are where you are going when it comes to your career or your business. So don't be scared to leave the old friends. Those friends that are always saying, the naysayers, don't be scared to leave them, because you are going to need people with like minds like yours. The last thing that I would like to leave you with is, if you're thinking of starting your business, you need to start by knowing your worth and knowing what you're bringing to the table. Value yourself. If you don't put value on yourself, people will put value on you. So your customers will say, this is too expensive, and you're going to lower your prices down because you want to make them happy. So value yourself. The work that you've done for that product or for that thing to be what it is that they want to buy from you. When you understand the value, you are not going to let anybody haggle your prices, because you know your value. And again, those who are supposed to be your customers will be your customers, because you are not supposed to have everybody. The world is full of a lot of people to have everybody as your customer. And the second thing is, follow your dreams. Don't hesitate to start, even if it doesn't work out. But hey, that's how you're going to know that it didn't work out, and then you try something else. It's better to know that it didn't work out because you've tried than to wonder your entire life and say, what if I went for that degree? Wonder what if I started that business? What could have happened? That is the worst feeling ever, living with regrets, the what ifs. So go for it. Start small. Start with what you have. Start where you are and build. And again, the last thing is, do not compete with anybody. Compete with yourself. The person you were yesterday, you want to be better the next day. Compete with yourself and improve in anything that you can do each and every time. And also be supportive of others. Be supportive of others, even if they're not doing the same business that you're doing, but together we are so much stronger when we do it together. That support, you don't even know someone might be having a difficult day or may be having a hard day. Just saying, I see you. I see what you're doing. I see your hustle and I respect it. That's all what we need. So let's support each other. Let's help each other. Let's be there for each other. I hope you got one or two things from my session, and I'm wishing you a wonderful, wonderful day, and enjoy the rest of the Boss Babe Summit. Thank you.
This is Boss Babe Summit. This is season 2, phase 2, round 2, and we've got Edna, Madame Edna. Madam Edna, thank you so much for joining us. Is it your first time at Boss Babe Summit?
This is my first time, but it's
Welcome.
such an honor. Thank
Welcome,
you. It's such
welcome.
an honor for me. You know, I do not take for granted an opportunity like this because I'm saying to myself, if it may be just one thing that I've shared, if
That's
that
it.
one thing is going to change another woman, it's
Why
worth
not?
it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a background about Dr. Rue and what she has been doing on Facebook. Like a lot of things happen on Facebook, and she's decided to use the platform to change the lives of women and men. I know there's men on that page. I just know it. But when she started the Boss Babe Summit and Boss Babe Conversations and Girliotherapy, she was posting so much about women empowerment, women you can do this, women you can do that, and she would have speakers on the page teaching us about business, teaching us how to, how to run your business, how to price your products, and how to write a business plan, how to sign contracts, and what to look for. You know, she was empowering us as women. But in the course of time, we discovered that her posting changed. And the content of her posting changed. And it was still, yes, women be empowered, but she was including God. She was including that spiritual part or that spiritual nature. And I'm waiting to hear from her, what really happened? Because I'm sure she went through a moment of realization that she was evolving and she didn't want to leave women out of it, so she was like evolving with us. I'm sure this is why she named this year's theme She Evolved.
Yeah.
Take us through once again about how life is spiritual and the importance of having that balance, corporate world and your faith.
When I look at my life, when I look at everything that I've accomplished in my life, when I look at even, women empowerment, one thing that I can tell you is it starts with God. Life is spiritual. There is so much more that is happening in this room where we are right now. There is so much more that is happening that we are not seeing with our physical eyes.
Right. But it's happening.
But it's happening.
Right.
When you appreciate that, you realize there's somewhere where you came from and there's somewhere where you are going. So when I look at my life, when I look at everything that I've experienced in my life, I start my day with God. When I've been with Jesus, there is no way I can fail in my life. When you have been with Jesus, there is no way, no matter what you want to do in your life, there is no way you can fail. I mentioned earlier on that I went to attend this conference in Atlanta, Georgia. What I can tell you is for maybe 15 years, I was going almost every year. After 10 years of going by myself, I said to myself, no, I cannot keep this to myself.
Wow.
Why? I was traveling from Zimbabwe to Atlanta, Georgia, from Zimbabwe to Dallas, Texas, Zimbabwe, Houston, Texas. Why? Just to be with Jesus. Just to be in his presence. And I can tell you, every conference that I attended, there is something significant that happened in my life. There was
Right.
with Jesus. We have a group of women worshippers. I'm so happy to hear of, what you are saying about Dr. Rue. When you go through that transformation and you now know that life is spiritual,
Right.
and you start your day with God, there is so much more that you accomplish in this life. This world is a better place. If we can have young people like you starting their day in his presence.
Right.
I've written a book, In His Presence, to inspire as many people as possible, for as many people as possible to realize that in his presence there is fullness of joy. What you need is this in this life is Jesus.
In your view, what would be a trigger from a woman's perspective? What would be a trigger for a woman to say, enough is enough, I need to take a step or a direction in my faith. I need to do something about my faith with regard that life is spiritual.
So when you look at your life, How old are you?
36.
36. There is significance in numbers. When you turned 30, in 4 years' time, you're going to turn 40. When you turn 40, there's going to be a shift in your life.
All right.
When you turn 45, when you turn 50,
Something
happens.
All right.
There's a shift in your life. But if you do not appreciate, if you do not understand the significance of numbers, you can turn 40
and
it's just another day, and it's just another year. But when you appreciate that, look at your life and say to yourself, what is it that I can do to live a different life? So you may look at your age, you may look at where are you at. If you are not married, for example, maybe there's someone who is listening who is not married. If you are preparing to get married, that is a sign for you to look at your life and say, okay, how can I do things differently?
how can I do things differently?
Yes. So you just look at your life and say, okay, where am I at? If you are employed and you are transitioning to starting a business, again, there's a shift in your life. So take that to then say, okay, Jesus, here I am. There may be death in your family. If you have, my father died in 1985 when I was still very young, grade 5. That year, 1985, it was a year that I had to sit down and say to myself, where are you, God?
Wow.
Where are you? I had such a special relationship with my dad. I've had so many awards. I never used to understand the business of awards. But I remember the first award that I received, Mega Fest. After I received that award, I went with my husband to the ceremony, but we had used different cars. So I had to drive back by myself. I cried so much. And what I was saying to myself, if only my father was here
To see
to see who I've become. So you look at your life, and at every stage of your life, it should be an opportunity for you to say, God, where are you? The starting point is asking yourself, where are you, God?
Right, so you discover where you are in your life, and then you ask God a question.
Yes.
Where are you?
Yes.
Find me where I am in this situation that I'm in, and then God should definitely find you and meet you at that point and turn things.
It may be through a friend.
It can be through Dr. Ru, because right now, I'm seeing how association is also important.
Yes.
If she had not discovered you, or decided that I wanted Madame Edna to be a speaker at the Boss Babe Summit, a woman like me who is watching right now would not be hearing this thing, and it's probably what she needed to hear.
It may actually, because of this, you are here, you are listening, and you are saying to yourself, I'm not happy with my life.
Right.
What else can I do? And because of what you have had, you now take one step forward to say, who can help me? So it may be communicating with Dr. Ru. It may be looking for Edna Mkurajija. Where are you, Edna Mkurajija?
Like, where are you?
Help me.
Right.
There's a way of then helping you. It may be your sister, it may be your mother, it may be your father who then comes to you and say, have you heard about this? But what is important is for you to be obedient.
Wow. Madam Edna, our time is not stop being kind to us right now. But just in a few words, I just want you to encourage a young lady who is watching there and saying, you know what, yes, I'm grateful for Boss Babe Summit. I'm grateful that I'm hearing about She Evolved, but I haven't really found the strength to evolve. My faith is weak right now. That's the woman I want you to speak to now.
There's a man called Dr. Miles Monroe. He talked about maximizing your potential as an individual. He talked about, the graveyard being the richest place because of people who died without fulfilling their potential. He talked about books being written, but people died without writing the books. So if you are there, you are a young woman, and you are saying to yourself, I'm not happy with where I am. I want you to know it's important and it's possible for you to maximize your potential. And you start where you are. You start by looking at who can help me. I've talked about Woman Excel. We have She Evolve. We have women who are doing exploits, who are saying, we can help you. We can hold your hand. There are women who have walked with me. And I know if you just open your eyes, there are women who can help you to start all over again. It may be a book that you can read that can help you to jumpstart your life. There are books that I've read that have helped to jumpstart my life. Do not remain where you are. It's possible to live a good life.
Oh, yes.
It's possible to have so much peace.
Can I say hallelujah? Amen.
It's possible to have everything that you have dreamt of coming to pass in your life.
That's true.
And you can start today.
And you can start today. Ladies and gentlemen, I know there's gentlemen watching. I know you. You know, men always find a way to sneak themselves in where women are gathered because they know sense is being discussed, and then they also want to know what strategies women are creating. So in terms of empowering themselves. We'll be right back with more speakers. Don't go away.
Yo, what's up, y'all? John Cole here. You're watching She Evolved, the second edition Boss Babe Summit. If you ain't part of it, it ain't happening. If it's happening, you need to be part of it. And remember, always, always be a boss babe. Peace out.
Hello and welcome to Boss Babe Summit 2021. My name is Amara Abim and I'm speaking with you from Lagos, Nigeria. It's my pleasure to share with you on this 2021 edition of the Boss Babe Summit. I believe that the Boss Babe Summit has come to stay and is going to be one of the greatest platforms in Africa where women can access resources and information for the betterment of the continent and the entire world. And by the way, happy International Women's Month. I hope you've had an amazing time so far. I also hope that you have chosen to challenge something in your world. For me, I've chosen to challenge on equal access to education because I believe that if we all have equal access to quality education, most of the problems in the world will be solved. And today, on this edition of the Boss Babe, I'll be sharing with you some mind-boggling questions that you need to answer yourself as you forge ahead post-pandemic. Truth is that with the pandemic, things have changed and they shifted drastically. It happened almost overnight, a huge shift from the center of what we know to a new world where we are all almost wobbling, trying to find our feet and move forward. But at the same time, I believe that COVID-19 has provided us with an opportunity, so while we were all lost, it has become an opportunity for us to accelerate digitalization. Prior to COVID-19, digitalization was seen as, well, optional. But now, it was all became mobile. And almost every other aspect of our lives. And so the new normal is here, and we are now in that new normal. We cannot go back. We can't go back to the way things were before. And so this calls for reflection. We have to reflect individually, you and I. We have to reflect, but of course also collectively on how we can mitigate the devastating effects of the COVID-19. And the role of women in entrepreneurship cannot be emphasized. Women constitute a larger percentage of people doing business all over the world. And so we need to, fight this battle together. We need to bounce back together. We need to get back on our feet together. But first of all, are you even aware of what has happened, right? It's important for you to be aware as a businesswoman, as a player in entrepreneurship, that several challenges have cropped up, and one of the key challenges that we have to face post COVID-19 is the changing consumer demands, especially in value chain. So there is a shift across all the sectors. And then the question I have for you is, are you aware? Are you aware of the shift in your line of business? You need to access market information, in this regard to compete. Otherwise, you're going to go extinct. Again, the value chain have been altered. Are you also aware? You need to access resources to move or upgrade to different value chains or different functions within the value chain, else you go extinct. I'll tell you what, my organization is a Nanny Academy. And when COVID happened, there were no placements going on, because what we do is the business of people. And during COVID, people were afraid of one another. Everybody stuck to their families. And so we knew that the value chain has curved. It has changed for us at that time. And for us to bounce back, we had to quickly think of the other value that we offer, which is training. And so we then used the opportunity of COVID-19 to look at our that aspect of what we do and revamped everything. And so while COVID was happening, we were busy building our training business. And now that we're in the post-COVID era, I tell you, our training business has taken a different shape. So what are you aware of the value chain change in your industry? And what can you do to turn things around so that you can adapt to how and what is in demand? And so you need access to information and capital. Yeah, access to information and capital. It could be human capital, not necessarily finance, but of course, finance too. And so you need this to acquire the relevant certifications, and knowledge that will help you to comply, with voluntary sustainability standards. Voluntary sustainability standards. So it's not necessarily an industry standard. It is just something that has happened that you need to adjust, and you need this access to information in your market, and of course, capital, knowledge, to adapt. And so a great source of support I have encountered for women doing business is the International Trade Center. You can go to their website at www.itc.org, and I am sure you'll find valuable information, that will keep you up to date on the trends and what is really happening. And so you should also be aware that digitalization, like we mentioned earlier, it has happened. And so it has also brought with it its own challenges for all of us. Look at the conference we are doing now. Look at Boss Babe last year was live in Zimbabwe, and we were all looking forward to gathering again, this year. But here we are online. And, for me, my organization, we were able to do a virtual graduation for the first time. Last year, my son, graduated from primary school, and we witnessed a drive-through graduation, things that, had never happened prior to now. And so because of these digitalization challenges, you need to ask yourself questions like, do you have access to skills and capital to move your business online? Do you have the access to the skills and the capital, to move your business online? What does it mean to move your business online? Have you thought about it? Or do you think your business shouldn't, be digital, or that it doesn't concern you? Well, I think you should retain that, okay? And then you also need access to capital to invest in automation and, digital processes. Sincerely, I am not one who is so, techie, as we say. But I dare say that I took the bull by the horns, and, I am currently going to graduate from a Microsoft Leap program, as we speak, in the next 1 week. And this was because I also realized that I needed to understand technology so that I can also understand the need of my business, and help my organization to move into that space. So I had to take this course, which I believe has exposed opened my mind, made me to have a model in mind, of the need based on our own unique process. And so I challenge you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, to seek access to, knowledge that will help you to automate your business. And of course, access to affordable and reliable internet is one of the challenges of, businesses. And so, what are you doing about that? What choices are there for you? What options are there for you? How affordable are they? How reliable are they? And how are you going to adjust your budget to accommodate this, this sudden, this necessary and indispensable element of doing business post COVID-19. And again, we are coming from digital challenges. We also have to deal with supply chain diversification. For some of us here who are in the business of supply, there is a chain that you have to follow. Now, you definitely need to know that you need prompt access to market information to mitigate risk and adjust business models. People are no longer traveling as they should. So how do you get this information? Right? So you need access to skills and capital required to adjust your production lines and meet new sourcing criteria of lead firms. And for you to assess these things, then you will agree with me that you need to have access to formal and informal business networks, with new buyers and suppliers, basically. And so I say to my friends, to people I know, to myself, you can never have enough network. You can never have enough network. And so in times like this, you just need access to both the formal and informal business networks, to ensure that you're able to diversify your supply chain, because that's one of the ways you can survive. And so it's a matter that we are now at the crossroad. And the question then is, what action are we going to take? Are you going to take action, or are you not going to take action? What is the price? What is the price you get to pay if you don't take action? And so let me tell us, if no action is taken, the risk is there, we know. Your business will probably have to let go of employees or even shut down because you cannot cope, you can't meet up with the demands of the times. Again, you may, have to spend more time on your childcare and domestic responsibilities. Yeah. If you don't take action. And of course, you may also then, of course, ultimately deal with the reinforcement of gender stereotypes. We know what gender stereotypes have done in the past. Is that where we want to, go back to? And so you will see that we will all struggle if we don't take any action. If we don't take any action, if we refuse to be aware of the problem and then take action to mitigate them, we will also struggle to take advantage of new market opportunities and government support packages. Yes, because when you are in the know, when you're taking action, it is easier for you to do what? Even understand when there is a gap, when there is, a new market, which you can quickly take advantage of. Of course, we know that no business can survive without innovation. And of course, if we then take action, what happens? We'll be able to capitalize on e-commerce, and all the opportunities it brings about. And then we also get to profit from genderless investing and have greater control over productive resources. Yes, we need to boldly, take advantage and profit from genderless investing, because there has been a gap, a gender gap, we know. And if we don't stand up for it, if we don't stand up to take control, we are still going to go back to that same, old gender stereotype. So we'll be able to capitalize on e-commerce specifically, which is, the way forward, the way for the future. Again, when we take action, we'll contribute more to, our country's GDP and have, greater influence on decision making and power, which is also part of the goals, sustainable development goals. We need to know and be in the know and be in the mix of things to, move the world forward and not backward. And so, while I hope that I've been able to share invaluable insights into what is happening and why you need to take action, why you need to think, rethink, reassess your business, understand the shifts in your consumers' demand, understand where you are in the digitalization process, and also understand, um, the value chain and how you can um, adjust your position in the value chain. I would like you to pause, think about it, think about what you can do, think about the price of not taking action versus the advantage of taking action. And so I'll recommend certain actions for you, and this include you have to think global. This is the time to think global, and this is the time to go global. So what are the possibilities for you? Every business is unique. No two businesses are the same. I mean, for the reason that we are not in the same space, in the same time, we all have our unique advantage, our unique, selling point. And so think global, go global. Think about the possibilities for you. Think about the challenges and ask yourself what is stopping you. Just merely being on the internet, you are global. And so, but how can you then take practical steps to be global, right? So you're operating in a space where there is no limitation. The whole world is your market. How can you make that happen for your business? And so another practical step you can take is to look for and apply to targeted training programs for women-led organizations. Examples I know are the She Trades, which is a sub-organization of the International Trade Center, ITC. And of course, there is also the Women Leaders for the World program, which I am a graduate of. You see, we can never know too much. The more we know, the more we expand our network. And of course, the more we are inspired to innovate, to revamp things, to change the way we look at things, the way we solve problems. We cannot say because we are doing business, we don't need to learn. No, in fact, because we are doing business, we need to do more. We need to learn more. And I mean, we've talked about digitalization, and then I just want to, repeat again: go digital, go digital, go digital. I mean, digital literacy and use of digital technologies for you and your business processes is a must. It is sine qua non. You can't do without it, right? So start now. And I tell you, this is a promising solution for your business continuity. The challenges of business, as we know, is lack of continuity. So going digital gives you the opportunity to build your business to last. I mean, think about bequeathing your business to the next generation and the next generation, simply by investing in the right technology. And of course, also availing yourself of technological skills to compete in this post-COVID era. And finally, network, as much as you can. You can also, just like I say, you can't belong to too much groups. You can't network enough. You can't learn enough. So network. Be intentional about it. Expand your network. And I strongly believe that if we can reflect on these things, we can understand where we stand in the mix of things as they are today. Together we can push forward and build back better. Build a better world, build back better. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Evolution, the slow and steady development of a species as it adapts to its environment. Now, if we're to take women as a subspecies of humankind, we've undergone a number of cycles of evolution in the past century. Now, roll back about 100 years ago, in a lot of societies, and I think in Zimbabwe it must have been just some decades ago, where women had perpetual minority status. It didn't matter how old you were, how many kids you'd had, you were still regarded pretty much as a child, needing the guardianship of a male to help you make decisions. So no agency, no capacity to act independently and make your own decision or own your own assets. Somebody said, this can't be right. I'm sure a group of women somewhere said, this can't be right. I think we are all born with an acute sense of justice, such that we can easily tell when we are faced with injustice. So fast forward, changes, protests were done, lobbying was done, and the law changed and we attained majority status. Very fine. More progression, more evolution happened in the area of education. We could advance further and further with our education. And then the workplace. We started off with the, I don't want to call them menial jobs, but more like the service jobs, where we were reminded that the purpose for our existence is for the convenience and comfort of men. So we took up jobs like taking their minutes, coordinating their diaries, pouring the coffees, cleaning the offices, and then more and more progression, because again, that sense of injustice keeps welling up. It was not enough. So up the ranks we rose, we started getting more meaty work, more intense work, more challenging and rewarding work. And we proved ourselves competent at it. In many ways, we do it faster, we do it better, we're efficient. And so we've sort of, at this stage, one could argue we've cemented our place in the workplace, that we belong, that we can. So while all of this was happening, when we were advancing in the workplace, there was this realization that we've entered a world designed by men, for men, where the performance measurement standards were skewed towards that gender. So we conformed. In the early stages, we did conform a lot. One of the things I chuckle when I think back on are those restrictive dress codes where you wear dark plain colors. I wonder which gender is drawn to those colors. So wear dark plain colors. Your heels must be short. Nail polish, ooh no. Makeup, ooh no. Just be plain. This is a workplace. Suppress your femininity. Conform, assimilate. Somewhere along the way, we decided, no, we like our high heels. We like our makeup. We like our long hair. We like our styly hair. We like lipstick. We like makeup. And we're going to rock the work. Dress like women. Expressing our femininity. Progression. Evolution. Even as we've progressed this far, there are still instances where you are reminded that we still have a long way to go. I sit in many a boardroom, and sometimes I can recognize a woman who is feeling like they don't quite belong. One who's feeling grateful to just be invited to the table. Even if it's not their job, they're quite eager to pour the coffees and take the minutes and to coordinate and make sure that their peers are comfortable, even if it's not their job. They are not confident enough to pitch their ideas, so they will whisper these ideas to their male colleagues before the meeting, only for the male colleague to pitch it during the meeting and claim all the credit for it. And you would think that we would challenge that, but no, we're supposed to be polite, likable, decent. So we keep quiet and we watch them run away with the promotion on the back of our ideas. This has been happening since time immemorial, the stealing of our intellectual capital. I was in the Google campus in Silicon Valley one day when I discovered that the parent of computer programming is actually a woman, Ada Lovelace. But when you hear talk about computers and how complicated they are, you think, oh, no, this is men's intellectual capital. But no, it's her ideas, her writings, her algorithms that were appropriated by men. DNA, the double helix structure, that was a woman, claimed by other scientists, and they got the Nobel Prizes for it. They claimed the money that came with the patents and all of that. Even one of my favorite things today, wireless communication, Bluetooth, GPS, Wi-Fi. Also, the intellectual capital of a woman who didn't benefit from it. It was stolen by her spouse or lab partner, if I remember correctly. Windshield, wipers, women. There's a lot. There's like a real list if you want to read this. But you see what happens in when those ideas are accredited to men and they take the accolades and the glory, it's not just a stealing of the intellectual capital. It is a stealing of generations and generations of confidence in women, of self-worth in women, of self-belief. Because when all the good progressive things are associated with one gender, it is very difficult to get to a place where you say, I belong, I deserve, I am just as good enough. And so when I recognize a woman in a boardroom who is not confident to pitch their ideas, would rather pass it through somebody else, or will accept when it's stolen from her, we still have a long way to go in our evolution. And so when we continue to suppress stereotypically feminine behavior at the workplace, when we want to be aggressive like the men, when we want to mimic their style, what would a man do? Think like a man, act like a lady. I know the book was about something else, I'm just borrowing the title. What would a man do? Let me do it that way. But you know what? When you are not walking in your true authenticity, you can't be your best self. No one can be a man better than a man. It's like a futile exercise. We need to evolve to where we are stepping into our power and our dominance and our excellence as women. And we're doing a fantastic job. Nobody likes to talk about this. The world has just been grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic. And the people I work with know that I love this statistic, that of the top 10 countries who've been objectively ranked as having handled the pandemic best, 7 of them are led by women. In fact, the top 7 is led by women. Your Jacindas in New Zealand, Angela in Germany, women who've taken the bull by its horns and come out tops in dealing with this crisis. I think a Forbes article said they found the women to have acted quicker, more decisively, with more empathy and more truthfulness with their citizens. We can do it and do it right, walking in our authenticity as women. I work for an investment management firm, so one of the things we're constantly doing is assessing countries and country risk. And I love this statistic again, that when you look at the top ranked countries for ease of doing business, which indicates that a country is being run right, it's got the right systems in place to attract local and foreign investment, and has the right protections for investments and assets. The top 5 is dominated by women-led countries. One of the top 5 is South Korea. I think it's number 5 from the latest rankings. It used to be number 4 when it was led by Ms. Park as a woman. It's dropped to number 5, there's a man in charge now. And if you look at the top 10, 50% are women-led countries, top 20 same. And this is when you have 10% of the countries in the world led by women, but they dominate when it comes to excellence. We can do this, ladies. Who lied to us? Who lied to us that we are less than, that we are not capable of excelling at the highest level? Who lied to us? What are we reading? Where are we getting our facts? Historically, we've been killing it. Currently, we're killing it. We have evolved, and we need to revel in that glory and let it energize us and ignite the possibilities that we're suppressing within us. But for all of that, having proven ourselves, Fortune 500 companies led by women have superior returns, better employee engagement, better market performance. We're killing it everywhere, except one place: equality. Defined in Oxford Dictionary to mean equality of status, advantages, and rights, etc. Equality of status, rights, advantages, etc. Funny, huh? Equality of rights, advantages, but not of responsibilities. There's still one place that is unrelenting in our evolution. See, we left the home when we advanced in school and at the workplace. We went to the office, but we never actually quite left the home. Today, the reality for a lot of working women, and it is the ones I speak of, it is in the group I belong to, so I speak experientially and intuitively. We still bear the primary responsibility of home administration and childcare, on top of our full-time day jobs where we are absolutely slaying it by any metric. The result of this is an insane amount of mental load, and I wrote about this on actual Women's Day. You have this human being who's stretched in so many directions. I often joke that we're not equal to men. Please don't compare women to such things. We're better. We can do more and excel at it. So we're wearing at least 3 caps if you happen to be a working mom and spouse. It's impossible. It's hard. It's overwhelming. It's frustrating. I have to pause. I know I just want to talk to my people, the women, but I have to pause and ask a question to the men. Now, if you have a spouse who is pulling in an 8 to 5, just like you do, and let's just pretend that the intensity of your jobs is more or less the same. When you get home and you take your much needed rest, has it ever occurred to you that she's still running around? She's gotten into the second shift, making sure everyone is fed. Never mind she has a maid. She still has got to make sure that things were cooked right, be in charge of the serving, check for the homework, plan for tomorrow, and do etc. other things. What reservoir are we supposedly created with that we have to keep digging deep for some endless supply of energy? It's impossible. The things we have to do are impossible. And when we talk about this, we can all recognize, when we talk women to women, that this is difficult, and it's hard, and it's unfair. But we encourage each other to hang in there. That is what it is like to be a woman. I wrote for another interview the other time, and I said, we need to stop doing this thing of wearing strife and endurance and suffering and unfairness as a crown of womanhood. There are no medals for the suffering we do. None at all. We are bent out. Some of us end up being resentful mothers. You know the mothers I'm talking about. When they are now 60 and they want to impose their will on their children and say, after everything I've been through for you. Well, mamas, you didn't go through it for the kids. You went through it because you were afraid to challenge the status quo. Maybe you were socialized into it, but if you recognize the unfairness of it and the sheer enormity of the burden, you didn't do it for the children. One of my favorite quotations is by Friedrich Nietzsche. He says, a right to exercise power costs effort and demands courage. And a right is a kind of power. And he goes on to say, that is why so many do not exercise rights they are perfectly entitled to. They are either too lazy or too cowardly. And then they cloak these faults with virtues called patience and forbearance. They're like, yeah, Ashinga, we're strong women. We just, stay in there, use our knees and just, like, what will it cost you? But meanwhile, we need to take a long, hard look at ourselves in the mirror and say, if this isn't right, why am I perpetuating? If this isn't right, why am I modeling it to my own children, my own sons and daughters? If this isn't right, it simply isn't right. So what can we do about this? Somebody's asking, we're tired of talking about it. We know the struggle, Gerald. Everyone knows the struggle. One of the things I dislike the most is prescribing, particularly to women. We have enough lists of do's and don'ts a woman should and shouldn't. I don't want to prescribe anything. I might have a suggestion. And this is my suggestion. Men are unlikely to reform themselves into more responsibility and less of their privilege. If I were a guy, this whole setup is working for me, guys. It's working. It's fantastic. I have, my wife goes to work. She brings in part of the bacon, whether it's less or half or even more. But I just have to do one main thing in my day-to-day. One main thing. I might check on the kids if and when I want to. Check on some things if and when I'm nagged into doing it. But really, the day-to-day, she better be organized and get it done. And if the shirt isn't ironed properly, it's her problem. Why didn't you train your maid to iron the shirts the way I like them ironed? And so why, if I'm a man, why would I want to reform myself out of that? There are some men, progressive, empathetic, who recognize that this is not fair, this is not right, and are stepping up and doing their part to lighten this impossible load for women. But then there are other sons of Adam. Some of them are very honest, and they'll tell you, I was not raised to do this. I do not recognize the need to do it, and I married a wife so that she can do it for me. I appreciate the honesty. It is what it is. So if you are the working wife stuck with that kind of spouse, what could you do? Allow me to bring in an analogy of weaning a baby off breast milk. I don't know about your baby, but my baby did like her breast milk. And a lot of babies love it. Available on demand, anytime. Just wail loud enough and you will get it. But we all appreciate that they need to be weaned off at some point. It's for their own good. They gain more independence and move into another stage of their growth. It's for my own good as a mother. Then I can be free, in other words, not having to be available 24/7, feeding on demand. So it's good for the two parties' independence. Now, everybody wins differently, but there are some common strategies. We all plan. We plan it. We stop with the night feeds. Most people stop the night feeds first, reduce the daytime feeds. Some do the whole chili pepper thing to discourage. We use all sorts of tricks, but at the core of it is we plan the process. We make it gradual. We make it steady and slow for it to be as painless or not as relatively pain-free as possible, but it's still painful for the mother. Engorged breasts, it's painful for the baby. I'm not getting my usual fix whenever I want it. But it is a necessary process, and we go through it, and everybody comes out at the end the better for it. I would like to suggest that we design winning plans. Working mamas, winning plans. I'll tell you some of my winning plans. I started off saying, I do not want to, let me win off the responsibility for making sure the water tank is filled. You know, when it's the dry months and the borehole is out and council water is doing its thing of being a guest visiting once in a while. So you must make a plan for a consistent water supply. And I said, no, my mental load is too full. Let me just wing this one off. And I didn't do hints or whatnot. I just said, the water might be running out next week. You might want to make a plan. And so slowly, it's off my plate. Next thing, ZESA. This thing of keeping track of the units. Where are the units? Must we top up? How are we going to budget and whatnot? Yeah, one thing I can get off my mental load. It might be easier as I'm weaning these off to my other, because it's not like a daily thing. Yeah, you know, you start them slow. ZESA is beeping. Not my problem. I weaned that off. Now it's off. Gas supply, you know, weaning off slowly, steady evolution. Slow, steady development of a species as it adapts to its environment. So you don't wake up one day and say, at this house, I don't do this, A, B, C, D, E, starting tomorrow, figure it out yourselves. If that's your style, by all means. Like I said, no prescriptions here, just suggestions. The point I'm driving at is, if you are like me, feeling that I have too much to do, there's just too much dumped on me, and if you recognize that perhaps my spouse is doing their best based on how they were raised and all of that, and that I bear the primary responsibility to liberate myself out of this status quo, then you take the necessary steps. You train even the children that they have two parents. A lot of us are married but single parents. The kids know it. They'll come to you whenever they need anything, because problems gravitate towards their solutions. So they know This is the parent, this is the primary caregiver, this is where I go. You train them. Oh, sorry, sweetie, you've got a what? A headache? Go tell your daddy. Let him deal with making it all better. Oh, you need help with that homework? Tell you what, Mama can't right now. Ask daddy. Let them know they have two parents. There's a reason they have two parents. They need the benefit of both. Don't deprive them, please. Don't deprive them of the goodness and downloading of the other parents. Direct them accordingly from time to time. You train your people. So you train that, you go outside, we have other duties, whether it's daughters-in-law, in the extended family. You train everybody. Slowly, steadily, as you liberate yourself from this insane mental load and burden. If we don't do that, ladies, it's taken over a century. But this particular dynamic has been so stubborn. We cannot wait for somebody to do it for us. We have to start slow, steady, sure steps. And if you've got sons, please raise them to do their fair bit. Don't let it be the daughter's duty to pick up the dishes after everybody, to clean up after everyone, to have extra responsibilities that the sons don't have. Because when they grow up, they're telling the truth that they don't know how to be this responsible because they were not taught by their parents. So evolution. Still some ways to go, but thank goodness we've come a mighty long way. So what are you going to be? Are you going to be the one clocking yourself with more patience and forbearance? Or are you going to take up the mental, the effort, and dig for the courage to assert yourself out of this difficult situation? Evolution. Adapt. Thank you.
So I'll begin today's interview, or this time's interview, this manner. I quote, "Hi, wow, it's just a list," some will say. "Who put this together? What was the criteria? Why isn't so and so there? Truth is, it's always nice to be recognized, and I don't care. And I don't take it for granted. It's anyone's constitutional right to compile their own list. Cheers to all under 40s." Close quote. And we all know who has the audacity and the guts to post such on Twitter with no fear. Some of us, our ancestors, don't have that strong backbone for us to post such on Twitter. But we are speaking to Ruveneko Pararenyatwa. When I saw that list, I used to term you like how everyone terms you: TV presenter, multimedia broadcaster, personality, da, 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 da. And then I looked at the list, and smack dab in my face was managing director. And I'm like, oh, guys, why minimize her to those little titles when she's doing so much more? What was going through your mind when you tweeted that?
Becky. Okay, so what was going through my mind was what the average Zimbabwean says about such lists. If I was on it, if I was not on it. If it was a list about like top billionaires in Zimbabwe, which I wouldn't be on, Jeremy. Any list by Zimbabweans is criticized. I'm sure it's criticized anywhere in the world. But what I didn't like was the idea that anybody who's decided to write a list must now adhere to everyone's criteria. The person who put that list together. And I appreciate the questioning of criteria. I appreciate all that. But there's nothing worse than people belittling anyone's efforts. Now, I wasn't defending it because I'm on it. I was defending it because I had a chat with the people who put it together. And I realized that they meant well, okay? And any country will have a under 40. You know, nobody questions Forbes 30 under 30.
Thank you.
Why must you now nitpick and tear apart someone else's efforts? So that's really where it came from. It was just, guys, it's
like, calm down.
I was like, okay, yeah, I would have added a few people there. I would have.
Right.
There's some people who I was like, why aren't they there?
Why aren't they there?
Right. And I did at some point think, is this skewed politically? You know, that kind of thing. But I did that because I also wanted to hear what people have to say. And I wanted people to know that we don't just get put on those lists because we paid money or whatever. And
You're like, what?
Nice. And it's an honor. But it was to start that conversation. Sometimes when you tweet something like that, you actually want to generate an open conversation and make it known that even you as a person on the list interrogate these things. And you do sit there and think, okay, so I've been put here, but with whom else and for what reason?
Right.
Yeah. So it was just,
and for what reason? I like that.
Yeah, so it was just to get the conversation going.
No, I liked it. I was like, yes, girl. Right, so I'm sure it's no secret to you, when I got into the entertainment industry, you were one of the few women that I was like, if I just get to half of what she's doing, I'll be okay, and I won't question anyone. And then I see you evolving. So the target that I wanted to reach, like if I just get to this part here, and then when I feel like I'm there, then you are like, you are like at another level. And it's a nice challenge. It's a nice something that keeps me like, come on, can you see what she's doing? Can you see what she's doing? So last year at the Boss Babe Summit, you were hosting, you were one of the facilitators. Yes. And this year we were like, everyone has seen her host and facilitate, but never really heard her side of the story. You've been labeled sometimes not so nice labels, and at times you've been called bossy, you've been called a bully, you've been called you know. At what point did you then say, enough is enough, I'm an evolving woman, I'm maturing into this thing? At what point in your career did you get to say, I'm a boss babe and that's your business?
It was after the first time I got released from a job here in Zimbabwe. It was my first job in this country, and I got released after working there for 5 years. And it's a place I loved, you know, a place that I had built, and my heart, soul, sweat, blood, tears were in there. And then I got released for political reasons, right?
Were you doing your job at this point?
I was doing my job, you know, and that hurt me, okay? They say don't catch feelings with work, okay? But I caught feelings because I genuinely put everything I have into whatever I'm doing at the time. So that broke me. I say hurt because I'm actually speaking of it mildly because it was years ago and I'm since past all of that trauma. But it broke me because I got home and I thought, these people can do this to me. So this is what happens when you do your job. You'd read about other journalists, you know, getting prosecuted or persecuted for what they do.
What they do, yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, that's awful. Never would you think it would happen to you. So when that happened, that's when I realized that I've got to take ownership of who I am without a job, who I am without a platform, who I am without being associated to a certain brand or station. And it took a lot, but it took me a couple of months. I was young and I had energy, and I was like, okay, let me find my voice.
All right.
Because you realize, Becky, that your voice is not in another person. Your voice is in yourself.
Right.
It's not in another person. Yeah, they gave me a microphone and the platform, but my voice was always within me.
So were you not hungry for that same energy or the same audience, the platform that they gave you? Weren't you hungry for it after getting fired?
No, I think I was more hurt that I was released from an entire system that I had been part of building. That's what hurt me. I was never worried that I'd find another microphone. That's not the point. And I did find another microphone. I created my own stage. That's when I started my online Facebook show.
Right.
And at the time, there was no other Facebook online show in the country. And that market had just opened. So it was the timing, Becky. You see.
Yeah.
And it was God, to be honest, because I got released in my show ended around June. Then I left the actual company in December. By January, I was doing this Facebook Live with no knowledge of how it's done.
Wow.
I remember fumbling with my crew in my house. We filmed in my house, in my living room. That first episode with Stunna. Okay. And we were figuring it out. But you know, we filmed with a cell phone.
No way. You were like, I'm going to get it done either way.
So you see,
I'm going to get it done.
So I still found my voice. I still found that platform. So no, I didn't crave that platform. I craved what we had built and the family I'd been part of. That had launched my brand and my career in Zimbabwe. I'll never take that away from them. but it did give me the tenacity and the drive to say no matter where I am, I will always have my voice.
Okay, so now you've got women who always cry for a seat at the table. Like, we will never hear the end of this.
Yeah.
It will always, whatever company or organization, you will always hear there's a woman who's crying for a seat at the table. Now, you just spoke about having your own voice. So if women have their own voice, why are we still crying for a seat at the table? Or if we are supposed to be looking or discovering our own voices, would we still cry for a seat at the table?
So you see, the table is very specific.
But, okay, wait, rewind. What is the table?
Exactly. It's about what is the table. You see, there's some women that want a seat at the table because there's some certain tables that are part of the status quo. Tables like government, tables like parliament,
Okay.
tables like the judiciary, okay? Tables where you can't go create your own table, you can't go create a new government, you can't go create a new board. Those are the tables we're talking about.
Okay,
But
right.
it's set in stone, there are 12 seats, and out of those 12, how many are women? Those are the tables we cry for to sit
Okay,
at.
all right, got you.
Then there are other sectors and spaces in which there are no tables. Okay, some people even eat on their laps. Some people vanogara pasi vodya anditi. Anditi.
Yeah.
There are some spaces that don't require a table. And if it is about adjusting,
Shoo.
take your own table or just adjust how you eat. You understand? So those are the spaces in which we create.
Okay, you just, wait, I need to soak this in. I need to soak this in. So there are some spaces that don't, like there's no table, but
There's no table.
you do something in that space.
And you decide, you lay the law of the land. And you say, all right, as a woman, I can enter this space and I can do this. There was a COVID pandemic. Was there a table? Was there?
Arukuvunza yanzi, was there a table?
You know what I mean? Yeah, there's the table. What do we do? Do we lock down, not lock down? But all right, as someone in business and commerce and entrepreneurship, where does gender come in?
I think the pandemic really just then shut this whole thing down on my table.
So
Like,
just make a plan, okay? If you're
Yeah.
going to see an opportunity in this COVID crisis, whether you are going to make PPE, stuff, whether you're going to start a COVID center, that didn't have gender. So we can't always be talking about who want to sit at the table.
in your view, what inhibits women from evolving? Like, if you're to link it with a personal journey, something that you went through. Offset, I was giving you an example of a butterfly, like how it's from a worm, then the cocoon, and then it becomes a butterfly. That whole process, we all need to go through it, but at times we get stuck, and we don't know where we are at.
Yeah, look, women inhibit themselves, okay? And we inhibit each other. How many friends do you have, Becky, who, when you talk to them and tell them where you are or your dreams, when
Okay.
you say, I've got to shoot, I've got to this, I've got to film this, sorry guys, I can't make coffee, I've got they don't understand that you're working. They think you're kuvaira. And then they send you that message, or they don't invite you to the next thing and you wonder why you weren't invited. They say, actually, always busy these days. Because and they're clipping your wings instead of saying, babe, you're flying, Sha. Can I come and support one of your events?
Wow.
Can I come and sit in when you're filming? I'd love to see how you do it. Do you get an extra VIP ticket? I want to come to that. Instead, they say, mazwana madura. So the inhibition, when you are going through your metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly, you need people that are
Clapping for you, supporting.
not the people that are saying, you've seen that meme that says you've changed.
No.
Speaking to a worm.
A worm,
And it's
like you're supposed
right, a
to.
caterpillar. And then he says, but you've changed. He says, but you're meant to.
You're meant to.
See? So you don't want people like that who say you've changed. How about you've grown? And you yourself must be able to be fearless. I think fear inhibits us, especially women.
Did you have moments where you were afraid?
No.
No, come on.
I'm telling you.
Like, can we take the superwoman cape and just put it on the
I'm
side?
telling you, this is exactly what I thank how I was brought up.
Okay.
Do you know, in my own household, I grew up with boys, and I remember having to be fearless, you understand? And having to declare what my rights are and say, no, but he stole my meat from my plate. And my parents allowing me that platform to say, but he took my meat. And then my parents bringing him to book and me seeing justice be served. You understand?
Wow.
So it comes from my upbringing. So when I say I'm fearless, it's not because I think I'm superwoman. It's because I've always felt like someone's got my back. And when you're now on your own out in the world, the only person who has your back is God. Every time I've been brought down, Rebecca, He has brought me back up. So what would I be afraid of? What am I busy being afraid of, Becky? Afraid of who? Nobody on this earth is God. Nobody. Nobody is God, and nobody can take that passion in you and say, no, but you end up. Because why?
Who are you to place me there?
Okay.
Like, why?
And fire me. It's okay. I'm watching. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was no fear in the process. So what were you going through? What was the emotion during?
Disappointment and anger. Don't get me wrong that it's not like it was just like, oh, I got released. Oh, let me find something new to do. You do cry and you are immensely disappointed because the people who released you are human beings whom you had built relationships with,
Yep.
whom you respected. So there's disappointment and anger and frustration. You know, yeah, come on, oh, but anger, yeah.
Let's not go there.
But it doesn't then translate to fear. It translates to, okay, you've empowered me.
And how did you find now that empowerment? Because most women, when they go through disappointing situations in life, whether it's at work, at home, within relationships, friendships, they tend to then close off. They are now afraid to go to the next level. For example, you were on this platform, you were given the microphone, and it was like, it's go time. And then after 5 years, it's like, we're taking our platform. And then for most women, I'm just trying to put it, if it was me, and then the platform is taken away, I'll be like, yee. So that fear of then moving on to the next thing, is it because we don't know where our backing is coming from?
It's that, but I'll also come back to a support system. One thing that I've always known and trusted are these things called mentors and people that you know are just in your team and in your corner. Every decision I then made to reinvent or to move on after being released the first time, then the second time, then the third time.
For doing your job.
For doing my job.
For doing your job.
See, it's people around me, people who believe in me more than I believe in myself. People that are like, Ruby, wanoku reminder kuti shamwari usina vanvesava, you are who you are. And they do support you, and you need support, especially in our line of work. You need the support.
Yeah, true.
And I think even if we were business people, trying to start a solar company, for example, you still need backing. Everyone needs that push. Whether it's financial, emotional, or spiritual. You need the women that pray for you.
Come on. Yeah.
You need that. So there's no thing that you can do on your own. I might sit here and sound like I'm fearless, but if you hear me speaking to my mom, I'm like a little girl. If you hear me with my dad, I'm like, but daddy, they did this to me. And then,
Yeah.
even though deep down you need someone to speak it out loud for you
And be like, come on.
And even your partner, it's very important. The person you decide to be with. I feel like love is, I don't like to say it and give it too much power, but love is powerful.
It is.
And the person that you're with in your life can make or break you, because that guidance comes daily. Where are you, babes? Where are you going? Ukataura. No, ndidambona dai anogona kuseka kuti iwewe unomeeta minister funga kuti unobudirira here.
Right.
You want someone to say, no, babes, can I drive you? Because Papa needs a parking. So let me drop you off and take you. Motoita say, on your way there because they believe in you.
They believe in you.
You don't want a partner who breaks you. You don't want that. So I pride myself in having had a solid network around me, from friends to partners to lovers to friends. It's important, and family.
For you to have that
my parents.
I'm going to take you back to you mentioned support system, and then you said even as women we tend not to support each other enough to clap for when another woman is rising. When I met Dr. Rue, it was purely God orchestrated. And after sitting down with her and learning a little bit about her journey, what I picked from there was, she said, knock on every door until you get a yes. Like, not every door will give you a no, you know. And I was at the point where I needed to hear that. Kuti, no girl, why are you sitting down on this? Knock on every door until you get a yes. And you know, I was like, okay, I got this. And I started knocking on doors, and for sure, not every door was giving me a no until I got my yes. In your life, personal or career-wise, have you had people that have come to seek assistance from you as a boss babe? Like, Ruvineko, I am struggling with evolving, I'm struggling with growing. And what was your advice to them? Because it's not like one size fits all, it's like individual advice for each.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look, I have. It depends how the people approach me. It does, because I am very professional.
Okay.
And if you're going to send me a WhatsApp and not even introduce yourself, but start blowing up my phone, chances are I'll block your number.
But I need help.
No. I think that, number one, I'm not the go-to person for help for everyone. And I never like to stretch myself. When someone is that desperately seeking you, I might block a number after sending maybe a number where they can get actual help. If I feel like they need like a therapist, or they need Childline, or they need something, I'll make sure that they're equipped. But I can't be everybody's help. And if you approach me professionally, I can structure how I can help you. Okay. Because I've never sold myself as someone who can handle anybody's emotions. I'm not equipped for that professionally. If somebody is suicidal, what am I going to do with them?
Wow.
If somebody's saying, I need financial help, how do I know the journey of that person? What if they're actually on drugs? And then I give them money because don't tumira eco cash, but tenga bronco. So you need to remember that helping someone comes with grave responsibility. So that's why I say professional help, no problem. Ruvi, I want to start a new talk show. I just really want your advice on how.
Ruvi, I want to start a new talk show. I just really need you.
And I'm like, cool. Let's have coffee, or let's have a phone call, you know, or email me your ideas and let's chat. I'll always be open to that. But the other avenues are very scary, Becky. I know it sounds like it's not nice for me to close people off, but it's not my space, and it's not my place. I have girls that I mentor. I have girls that I send to school. But that's a relationship that I've built with them and their families or their whoever. But it's very difficult.
It's very difficult.
It's very difficult. And I don't like to pretend like I know how to do everything. I focus on what I know I can help with, where you can even see the development and see the journey. And I think nobody should ever shoulder more than they can take.
And I think as women at times we feel like we want to be superwoman, and we want to bear everything on our shoulders. So as we close, is there a relationship between evolving and maturity?
Yeah, of course. Your maturity is your evolution, and evolution is your maturity. And maturity comes with self-actualization. It comes with learning from experiences, right? They call them losses and lessons. When you reach an age where you say, oh, that was a lesson, as opposed to that was a loss.
Yeah.
I know it sounds poetic and all frilly, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
So I think evolution comes with saying, okay, I'm no longer wanted at this organization for whatever reasons. Do I throw a tantrum and take it to the press and then like, oh, hear me? Or do I just say, all right, cool, on to the next?
On to the next.
You see. So evolution is important. You can only do it if you mature, because sometimes we hold on to the older versions of ourselves, like we did discuss off air as well, where your people see you as, you know, Rebecca of 2021, but you in your mind are still locked and trapped in 2018.
Flipping.
You haven't forgiven yourself for the mistakes you made. You look in the mirror, you feel like, oh, I've gained weight, therefore I'm not beautiful anymore. You look at maybe your bank balance and you're like, eesh, man's your soul. You know? and you don't realize how much you've grown and how much you've impacted people along the way. So your biggest prison is your own mind. So you might be like, you know, I haven't evolved. But everyone's like, Shamwari,
Like, come on.
We love
Right.
what you're doing. And you're like, me? And you must never mistake humility for that. You mustn't look at that and say, no, I'm being humble.
I'm being humble.
I don't see how great I am because I'm being humble.
Ooh,
Okay.
I hear you.
You want to be humble.
Stay humble.
Stay humble.
Who'll bring a chair for you?
You know, there's humility and then there's self-actualization. There's a difference, you see. You need to be able to have that balance between the two to be like, I am Ningi, and this is where I stand. And nothing can bring me down. And I appreciate the growth because we pray, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't pray to God and then not notice that you've grown or that you've evolved
Right.
or that you're blooming. Come on.
Wow. Like,
You know?
I'm just trying to bring myself to a point where I'm sitting across Ruveneko, and Ruveneko is dishing out these truths, and for me the thing that's standing out the most is how often you're mentioning God.
Oh.
Like, I am shocked. No, I think it's a stereotype that we do as human beings. And if you're doing it, stop it. Okay, it's a stereotype that we do as human beings because people don't post about God. You feel like they don't pray, or they don't have a relationship with God. Like, I knew it was there, but I just didn't know how much of it is in your backing.
I didn't realize how much I've mentioned him either.
No, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. And that's what Dr. Rue is big on. I don't know if you've been following her Facebook page, but when she started, she was starting off with the women empowerment here, this, and, you know, teaching us what to do in the corporate world, in the business world, in the private and public sector. And then one day she just posted something to do with how great God is and how you cannot do it without God. And after that, subconsciously, the followers on that page began to acknowledge the presence of God in everything that they're doing. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you. I'm like,
I think online it's different, you see, because you must always be cognizant of the fact that online there are people from different faiths as well, you know. And yeah, the bold Christians who are maybe in that line of work, or, you know, who are completely like, you know, sold out and, you know, loud, will always post. But sometimes you got to be cognizant that there are people from different faiths that follow you, and sometimes it's not about Jesus Christ. It's about being a good person. You look at what each of our faiths teach us. I don't think the 10 Commandments differ. I don't think there's any one faith that says go kill. You know, or dishonor your mother and father. We're all built from the same basic fabric. And then someone was like, no, I want to add sequins. No, I want to add glitter.
this.
No, I want to use red. No, I want to use blue. It's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? Like, we actually all are.
It's not that deep.
Like, as human beings, we are actually all fundamentally
Wow.
the same cloth. And to talk about God is easier because we're having a chat. It's different if I was typing on my keyboard. I might actually delete D-O-D backwards. And
like,
okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm cognizant. And I just hope that in my work, I glorify God.
You do, girl. We
and
see
that
it.
we sit like this and then we can chat.
We
I mentioned
see
his
it.
name loosely because
Yes.
So it's just on my tongue.
No, you say it loosely because it's something that you're living. You can tell when someone has that. All right, so this was our little chat with Ruveneko Pararenyatwa, amazing woman, if I do say so myself. Like, it was such an honor. It's a privilege. Thanks, Dr. Rue. Thank you, because you made this happen. It is Boss Babe Summit, phase number 2, season 2, round 2, and we had our sit down with Ruveneko Pararenyatwa. I'm sure you heard for yourself, evolving. With maturity, it goes hand in hand. You cannot live without the other. And you know that analogy of the caterpillar and the worm, you are supposed to change. This is Boss Babe Summit.